Have you ever really stopped to think about what's going on with the air all around us? Well, today, we're diving into the invisible forces that make gases do what they do. We're going to break down two of the most fundamental rules out there, Boyle's law and Charles's law. Let's jump right in.
So, why does a bag of chips look like it's about to pop when you're on an airplane? And why does a birthday balloon seem to deflate the second you take it outside on a chilly day? It's not magic, it's actually just physics. And the answers to these little everyday mysteries all come down to how gases behave. By the time we're done here, you'll know exactly how it all works.
All right, first up, let's talk about Robert Boyle and his famous law. I like to call this one the squeeze, and for a good reason. It's all about what happens when you put pressure on a gas, but, and this is key, you keep the temperature nice and steady. Now, the key phrase here is inversely proportional. That's just a fancy way of saying that pressure and volume are kind of like two kids on a seesaw. When the pressure on a gas goes up, its volume has to go down. And if you give that gas more room, increasing its volume, the pressure drops. One goes up, the other goes down. Simple as that.
But, for Boyle's law to actually work, there are a few ground rules. First, the temperature can't change. No adding heat, no taking it away. Second, the amount of gas you have has to stay the same inside a closed system. Just think of it like a perfectly sealed container. Nothing gets in and nothing gets out.
And here's the really elegant formula that wraps it all up. P₁ times V₁ equals P₂ times V₂. All this means is that if you multiply the pressure and volume at one point in time, it's always going to equal the pressure and volume at a second point in time, as long as you didn't mess with the temperature.
To really get this, let's picture the actual gas particles. Imagine them bouncing around like crazy inside a box. Now, what do you think happens if we start making that box smaller and smaller, squeezing them all into a much tighter space?
And bam! With way less room to move, those particles are going to start slamming into the walls of the container way more often. Every single one of those little collisions is a tiny push, and all those pushes add up. That is what we measure as pressure. So the takeaway is super clear. Less space means more collisions, which means higher pressure.
And if you were to graph this relationship, this is exactly what it would look like. You can see that as the volume along the bottom increases, the pressure on the side drops right down. It creates this really distinct downward curve, which is the perfect visual fingerprint of an inverse relationship.
And you see this law in action everywhere, probably without even thinking about it. When you push down on a bicycle pump, you're decreasing the volume to crank up the pressure and force air into the tire. A syringe, same exact principle. Heck, even breathing relies on Boyle's law. Your diaphragm drops, making more volume in your lungs, which lowers the pressure and pulls air right in.
All right, let's shift gears and meet our second law, this one from Jacques-Charles. So, if Boyle's law was the squeeze, then you can think of Charles's law as the heat. This time around, we're going to keep the pressure constant and see what happens when we start playing with the temperature.
And here is the big difference from Boyle's law. Charles's law is all about a direct relationship. As you heat up a gas, its volume gets bigger. You cool it down, its volume shrinks. They move together in perfect sync, like dance partners.
Okay, now I need you to listen up, because there's one absolutely critical, non-negotiable rule when you're dealing with Charles' law. You must use the Kelvin temperature scale. Seriously. Why? Well, because 0 Kelvin is absolute zero. It's the point where molecules literally stop moving. Celsius and Fahrenheit don't have that true 0 point, so if you plug them into the formula, you're going to get the wrong answer. Every single time.
Thankfully, the conversion is dead simple. You just take whatever your temperature is in Celsius and add 273. That's it. Just don't forget this step. It's the whole key to making this law work.
And take a look at the formula for Charles's law. See how it's different from Boyle's? Instead of multiplying, we're dividing. This shows that the ratio of volume to temperature is always constant. This division is basically the mathematical signature of a direct relationship.
So what's happening on the particle level here? Well, when you heat a gas, you're basically shooting energy into its particles. They start zipping around way faster, hitting the walls of the container harder and more often. Now, if that container can stretch like a balloon, it has to expand to keep the pressure inside the same. So more heat means faster particles, which demands a bigger volume.
And the graph for Charles's law? It's beautiful. It's a perfect straight line. As the temperature in Kelvin goes up along the bottom, the volume goes up right along with it on the side. That clean, straight line is the unmistakable sign of a direct relationship. So simple, so elegant.
You have definitely seen Charles's law at work. A balloon left in a hot car gets bigger. When you're on a long road trip, the friction from the road heats up your tires, making the air inside expand and increasing the pressure. And, of course, this is literally how a hot air balloon flies. You heat the air inside, it expands, becomes less dense than the cooler air outside, and whoosh, up you go.
Okay, so we've met the contenders. Now it's time for the final showdown. Let's put Boyle's law and Charles's law right next to each other and make their differences crystal clear.
Let's look at the formulas side by side. Boyle's law uses multiplication, P times V. This forces that inverse relationship. If one number goes up, the other has to go down to keep the total the same. Charles's law, on the other hand, uses division, V divided by T. This means they are directly linked. They have to rise and fall together.
And here it is, the ultimate summary. Let's run through it real quick. For Boyle's law, temperature is constant. The relationship is inverse. The graph is a curve. For Charles's law, pressure is constant. The relationship is direct. The graph is a straight line. Honestly, this slide is the perfect cheat sheet for keeping them straight.
Okay, so now that you get the theory, let's turn all this knowledge into a practical toolkit that you can actually use to solve problems. Here is a super simple 5-step strategy that'll work for any gas law problem. Step 1. Figure out what's being held constant. Is it temperature or pressure? That right there tells you which law you need. 2. Convert your units. I can't say this enough. If temperature is involved, you have to convert to Kelvin. 3. Pick the right formula, either Boyle's or Charles's. 4. Plug in your numbers and solve. And 5, and this is an easy one to forget, make sure you put the correct units on your final answer.
Look, if you only take one single thing away from all of this, let it be this simple idea. Boyle's law is about the squeeze, that relationship between pressure and volume. And Charles's law is about the heat, the relationship between temperature and volume. It really does boil down to that.
And that leaves us with one last big question. We've seen what happens when we keep one thing steady, but what about in the real world where everything is changing all at once? Well, that's where the next piece of the puzzle comes in, something called the combined gas law. But that's a story for another explainer. Thanks for watching.